Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick. Today, we have set number 2506, the Skull Truck from Ninjago 2011, released in August of that year. And the first thing I wanted to highlight here is that this box is massive, like really massive, and that is because it is from before LEGO, reduced their box sizes to save cardboard. But I did feel like that was worth mentioning. And as a result of that, I'm going to have to remove from the shot very quickly because it's just too big for my camera to, show that and the set. But anyway, the set contains a total of 515 pieces and retailed for $60, which puts the price per piece a little over 10 cents, but I feel like with the big wheels and tires, it's still a decent value in that price per piece regard. And you do have two instruction booklets, 1 and 2, and all the pieces go into the Skull Truck build, and there are 4 minifigures. So let's get a closer look. So the Skull Truck has this awesome looking skull design on the front, and when you're looking at it from any normal angle, it looks really good. When you start to get straight on with it, you can kind of see through there, but from any sort of reasonable angle, and even when you can see through there, it looks pretty good from this front view. I like how it's got the trans red tiles there to represent the eyes. That looks awesome, I think. And the big feature of this thing that I think is important to note right off the bat, and you can see it better from the back, but it's more important in the front, is that it does have these suspension pieces, Technic suspension, so you can push it down and it'll move up and down like a car with good suspension. And I think that's a good feature, and it works pretty well. And the big thing that feature allows for is the opening and closing of the mouth, and that action is really, really nice looking. And you can just turn it, or you can just push down on the front. You could do the whole thing, but I think just doing the front works better for this chomping action here. And the other thing that I want to get out of the way really quickly, which is probably my biggest complaint about the set, are these prison cells in the back. You can take them off very easily, and you just open them up like so. You can take a figure, we're going to take Zane and take his spear out of his hand, because, it doesn't make sense to arm your prisoners. And you just put them in like so and push these teeth down, and they kind of lock perfectly in there. You can get them so that they go right in between the studs there, and it's a little bit harder to push them side to side. That works well, and he's in there pretty securely. And you just slide these Technic holes over these 2 bars here, and that is what they expect you to do. I think I missed one of them. Yeah, there we go. That's what they expect you to do. But if you are just bouncing this around, or if you're going like this, if you end up touching this and pushing the flame up, it will knock the prison cell off, which you could view that as an escape feature. Yeah, he's still kind of in a cell, but you could view that as an escape feature, but I have a feeling that it's more fun if they actually get the prisoner away, because then you've got to take Jay and you've got to chase them down and break the prisoner out. And if the prisoner just falls out from, bad driving, that's a little bit less fun. There is an identical prison cell on the other side, and I'm going to keep them off. I know it kind of detracts from the look just a little bit, but I will knock them off so many times during the rest of this review, so I feel like I would rather leave them off for now. The wheels obviously are cool, as I mentioned earlier. They're really big and nice and bouncy, pneumatic. The whole driver's area is, pretty cool. They kind of can't really see down the front because there's an engine in the way. The engine looks awesome though, and I really like this. Note there is a gap, but from a normal angle you can't see that. You have to be looking from basically straight down in order to be able to see in there, or realize that that's a gap. Otherwise, it just looks pretty shadowy, and it kind of blends in. The only thing that really shows it off is there's a little bit of yellow in there, and that's what makes it most obvious. You got the mirrors here. These little bones provide the sides of the cockpit area. Some lights there. You can stand a figure behind the cockpit seat. Oops, there's his weapon. Garmadon's weapon was already out of his hands. And you can just remove him pretty easily. There is a little bit of room in there. He's got 3 studs, a little bit of extra space, as well as this steering wheel, which is actually attached via bar, and you can angle it up and down just a little bit. It's hard to do, hard to get in there without breaking it, so I don't want to. But it is possible. So, you know, there's also this little bar in the back which separates it from this little launcher. You could fit another figure back here if you wanted to. So you could probably get maybe 3 to 4 figures. You could also put some on the sides here. So if you really wanted to load this thing up, you could probably get all the important skeletons. But here's the other feature, the other play feature. You know, we've got the chomping jaws, we've got the suspension, which kind of go hand in hand. We've got the prison cells, which are another feature. And the last one has to do with this up here. What you do is you pull this back, and you're supposed to be able to shoot this hand off. And this feature, I find, is also very unpolished. And it doesn't work all that great most of the time. Sometimes you can get a decent shot, but even when you do, it will go probably that far. So, you know, it's not perfect, and I wish it worked a little better. But yeah, that's kind of the best you're gonna get. That shot that we just got off here, it went about this far in front of the vehicle, and maybe, I don't know, if your ninja is standing right there. Look, we hit him, so you know, that's cool. Usually when I do stuff like that, it doesn't work, but you know, I just think that's a little disappointing, and I wish it worked a little bit better. But taking a look at the actual hand, it does look kind of cool, and I like the printed tile. There are no stickers in this set, so that's cool. And I do think that it looks good, because there is supposed to be, like, this is a show-accurate feature, which you don't find all that often, because usually they just add brand new features to sets to make it look, or to make it play better. So I appreciate that we've got the little hand in the back, like it, you know, like is visible in the show. Oh, that was a really good shot, actually. So, you know, you can get good shots, it's just very rare. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I'm disappointed by the playability of this thing, but I think it does look pretty menacing, and as a result, I think that the appearance is cool. Could definitely do with some more fine-tuning of features, which I think is an interesting point, but I'll touch on that a little bit more later. So the 2 good guys we get in the set are Jay and Zane. These are both in their original suits, which I think are pretty cool still, and I think that they still look good in, you know, an array of all the ninja suits. But these are some of the less visually interesting ones. I still like them though, and you know, they have a special place in Ninjago history. But the weapons are relatively bland and boring. The spear, I guess I don't have many dark brown spears, but it's just a spear. Jay's nunchucks of lightning are, you know, one of the collectible weapons for this wave. Obviously their parts are relatively common nowadays, but it's still cool to have them. And the printing on these guys is pretty good, and you know, there's nothing quality-wise that's bad. The faces are, you know, the same faces they've been using for a while, and there is no back print on the heads or torsos. So, you know, what you see really is what you get. The eyebrows look a little thin on Jay, which I don't know if that's intentional, if they actually kind of slightly changed the print, or if that's just this one is a little bit lighter than it should be. Because I do remember I've had a Zane where the face print was a little bit lighter than it felt like it should be. So I don't know if they transitioned at one point and made the lines thicker, or if that's just a manufacturing quality issue. But, you know, either way, it's not that big a deal, because you can barely tell through the mask, and it still does look like Jay. I think Garmadon and Whiplash here have slightly more interesting weapons. Garmadon's is this staff, which has a lightning electricity piece on the top. I think that's cool, and it's pretty tall, which, you know, you guys can't see the full thing currently, but yeah, the lightning goes completely over his head. And Whiplash's weapon is a bone axe. That axe blade is, you know, in the speckled black silver color, so it looks really cool. And I always like pieces that are done like that in this color. I don't think I have too many of the axes like this, so happy to get another. The actual figures, I think Garmadon's a little bit more boring. I had no idea that this was actually in like the flat silver color. I thought it was in gunmetal gray, but you know, happy to get it in this color. I did not have one. I thought I would have been able to build one with the pieces that I had, because this is the only thing that's exclusive to this guy. The rest of the designs were copied onto the 2012 Garmadon, which I do have. So there is the torso and head design for him. No back print, obviously no back print on Whiplash, because he's made of pretty specialized pieces. His skeleton headpiece actually has a stud on the top where it can receive any sort of anti-stud, and they use it to attach a rice hat in this case, which I think makes him look pretty cool. He's the only skeleton where you can remove any figure accessory. I kind of wish Cruncho would have allowed you to remove the helmet, but that would have been a little bit more difficult. The printing on his head is cool. He's got a worm coming out of one side, nothing on the other. And he has this shoulder armor piece. The printing can rub off of these spikes, so I'm going to be very careful with this one, because it's the only one I've gotten in new condition. And the torso is pretty cool. He's just got the white on the bottom. I believe this torso part may be shared with Bone's Eye, but I don't know that for certain. It could be exclusive to Whiplash. Whiplash comes in 3 sets. I think Garmadon also comes in 3 sets. And they're all from the 2012. But I think Whiplash is significantly more interesting to me, just because Garmadon's designs do get carried over into the next year. So overall, I do think this set was cool, but I don't think it has aged all that well. I think that the biggest thing I've learned from, you know, building this set, because obviously I built this in 2018, I bought it in 2018, sealed still. So, you know, it was a brand new, like, it was the same experience you would get with building a brand new set of this, but I think the biggest thing I've taken away from this is that Ninjago sets have gotten way better than they used to be. Because, you know, this is fun, and I like it, but I think that the, you know, the standards set by more modern Ninjago sets, you know, where all the features work well, there's nothing like that in more modern sets. You know, I think that some of the flaws here have been kind of improved in more modern stuff. So, you know, I'm happy about that. This set, if you like the way it looks and want it for display purposes, I think it's good. And, you know, I would recommend it for that. You know, if you're looking for an aftermarket set and you're willing to pay, you know, what it costs. So I'm not going to talk about value in terms of display. Value in terms of play. This set is kind of lacking in that department. It does have, you know, 3 features which are all fun on their own. You know, that being able to put things in prison, and, you know, the attempting to shoot this. You know, those are all right, but they don't work as well as they should, and as a result, I don't think I would recommend this set as a play set, simply because, you know, there are definitely many better sets nowadays. I can't speak on whether there were better sets available at this time, but honestly, you know, for a kid in 2011, I would have recommended getting a couple of the Spinjitzu spinner sets instead of this, to be honest. Just because this doesn't work all that well and is not a great playset. The figures are cool. the look of this thing is nice, and I like the studs on the side building used for the front, as well as the engine. This whole section is really good, but the back, I think, is where it really kind of falls apart in a literal sense. So, you know, kind of mixed feelings about this set on a whole, or on the whole, but it's not awful, and I think it was a decent value back in the day. Nowadays, if you can get it for $50 sealed, I would recommend that, but hunting it down on the aftermarket, you know, not a big fan of that. I think there's way better sets from Ninjago 2011. I hope, and I will review them if I get any of them, and you know, we'll update you guys then. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.